Howdy everyone, welcome back to Wobble Enjoy Sports. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider to like the content and subscribe to the channel. But if you're a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Last week, I got 13 out of 16. Damn close to a perfect round. Let's get stuck into week number 2. Week 2 of the NFL kicks off from Hard Rock Stadium. The Dolphins host the Buffalo Bills, and the Dolphins find themselves as $1.69 favourites. The Bills are sitting at $2.29. That's not bad value if you don't mind. But the Buffalo Bills, they only just defeated Arizona at home last weekend, having to come back from a deficit, and the Dolphins were involved in a fight. A Floridian fight against the Jacksonville Jaguars. 50-50 game to tip. I want to tip the Dolphins, but with the Buffalo Bills outsiders by that much, Josh Allen doing what he did last weekend, I guess I got to go the upset by the bookies reckoning anyway. I'm going to go the Buffalo Bills in this one. Minnesota Vikings host the San Francisco 49ers from US Bank Stadium, and the 49ers find themselves as $1.42 favourites, where the Vikings sit at $2.97. So I thought that would have been in the $3 range for the Vikings. So the bookies giving the Vikings half a sniff, but I think it will be all for nothing, to be honest with you. 49ers looking very, very good, very hot to trot. But if I'm not mistaken, the Vikings did defeat the 49ers 2 years ago. And the 49ers have not won in Minnesota in a couple of decades, if I'm not mistaken. There's a bit of a hoodoo vibe. But surely the 49ers break that curse and they defeat the Vikings this weekend. Surely. From Gillette Stadium, the Patriots host the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seattle Seahawks are coming into the game as $1.50 favourites, whereas the Patriots are about $2.60 on Sportsbet. Seattle Seahawks are coming back from a halftime deficit to win okay against the Denver Broncos, 26 points to 20. It did feel more comfortable in the end than what the scoreline suggests. And the Patriots, upset of the weekend last weekend, going to Cincy and beating the Bengals 16 points to 10. Obviously, Super Bowl rivals from all those years ago. Don't mention it any more than that. The Seattle Seahawks should have too many points for the Patriots, even though the Patriots defense is nothing to scoff at. Come on, Seattle. I'm going to choose them to win about 1-10. Woof. The Washington Commanders host the New York Giants, and the Commanders are favourites only slightly at $1.87. The Giants are about $1.97. Giants definitely put their hat in the ring for worst team of week 1. The Commanders were thereabouts, but had a bit of a spirited fight back in the second half in a big loss eventually to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have to go for the Washington Commanders. I feel like that they're on a better trajectory than the New York Giants. Daniel Jones is the most hated man in New York at the moment, just quietly. So I got to go the Washington Commanders to win this one. Panthers host the Chargers in Carolina, and the Chargers are $1.38 favourites, whereas the Panthers sit at $3.10. Apologies for last weekend about the misinformation of Justin Herbert. I swear 6 weeks ago I heard that this man's season was cut in half. So when he came out the other day and played for the Chargers, boy howdy did I feel embarrassed. My heart fell into my foot. Whereas the Panthers, they played like they didn't have any feet last weekend against the Saints, letting up 47 points in week 1. That is not good. That is not good in any way. We'll get to the Raiders in a sec, but the Chargers came out with a smash mouth kind of attitude, and they should be too good here for the Carolina Panthers. From AT&T Stadium, the Cowboys host the New Orleans Saints. The Cowboys sit at approximately $1.35, whereas the New Orleans Saints sit at $3.31. Saints bigger outsiders against the Cowboys than the Panthers against the Chargers. Oh boy. Last weekend, the Saints, they put the cleaners through the Panthers, and the Cowboys, they themselves cleaned up the Cleveland Browns very, very nicely. But again, as everybody has been saying, the Cowboys, we've got to see what they do in the playoffs. Saints, now we're going to see what they're really all about up against this really good defense of the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, 47 points is not going to happen for the Saints this weekend. But it's an intriguing game to see the attitude and respect that the Dallas Cowboys will or will not show the Saints. But in any event, I'm going to go the Dallas Cowboys. For the first time this year, we're at Lambeau Field. The Green Bay Packers host the Indianapolis Colts. And believe it or not, the Colts are the favourites, sitting at $1.64, whereas the Packers sit at $2.30. That the reason being, obviously, is that Jordan Love is out for at least 3 weeks, maximum 6 weeks. The young man, Richardson, a quarterback for the Colts last weekend, did some really good slinging and nearly pulled off the victory against the Texans. There's still the nucleus of a good team here in the Green Bay Packers. I don't know about the Colts defense, if they can get after whoever steps up to the plate this weekend as second-string quarterback. So in saying that, I'm going to go the upset here. I think they'll get around each other, and I'm going to go the Green Bay Packers to win. From Jacksonville, Florida, the Jacksonville Jaguars host the Cleveland Browns, and Jacksonville come into the game as $1.61 favourites. The Browns sit at approximately $2.30. Jacksonville taking the Dolphins all the way to the edge, but ultimately lost. The Browns, severely disappointing. Severely disappointing. The bounce back factor could be huge for the Browns, but from what I've read, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, Deshaun Watson is not him. Is not him, and the Browns are stuck with him. Jacksonville Jaguars, they should have too much for the Cleveland Browns, but I think this will be a close game. Browns should have a bit of a bounce back after the embarrassing way they lost last weekend, but I am going to go the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this one. From Nissan Stadium, the Tennessee Titans host the New York Jets, and the Jets are $1.45 favourites, whereas the Titans sit at about $2.70. Decent old value on the Titans there. Titans going down against the Chicago Bears, though, unfortunately. And the Jets, they went down pretty convincingly to the San Francisco 49ers. This is a queer game to tip. The odds should be a hell of a lot closer than what they are. I guess I'm going to have to go for the Jets. I think that they just have to win. Rodgers there, and they're as full strength as they have been for over 12 months. Titans are not going to be easy, but the Jets, I think this is kind of a must-win game for them. So I'm going to go the Jets. The Detroit Lions host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Lions are $1.30. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are $3.70. Is that a joke? I literally had to recheck it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are $3.70. You may as well put a bet on each way. Legitimately, that is way too good to scoff at. After the way the Bucs played last weekend, the Detroit Lions having a tough game against the Rams, winning in overtime. But for every team that I've talked about and will talk about, it's week 1. It's the first 2 to 3 weeks of the season. So allow just a bit of patience for everyone. But, oh man, 370, holy. But I'm going to tip the Detroit Lions, but fair income. I'm going to put a couple of bucks towards Bucks. The Ravens host the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Ravens are $1.21. The Raiders are $4.20. And the Ravens were very impressive. Whilst they went down to the Chiefs, they were very impressive. And the Raiders, I'm off them. I will not give them the benefit of the doubt in any sort of 50-50 scenario for the rest of the year. I gave them that chance last weekend. I thought attitude was poor. Could take nothing away from the Chargers, but I thought the Raiders would have been better than that. So I'm going to go the Ravens to absolutely smash the Raiders this weekend. Cardinals host the Rams, and Arizona Cardinals, they're the favourites at $1.80. Rams are $2. The Rams did things without Puka Nacua there for, I think, half the game last weekend. He was taken off. So Puka Nacua will not play in this contest, but there's still enough starch about the Rams. But credit to the Cardinals. They went to Buffalo. They were up at 1 point and went down only by 6 points. So this is a very intriguing game for both of these sides. I have to fall in favour of the Rams. I just need to see more before I can take that leap of faith with the Cardinals. But this is going to be a close game, I feel. It's going to be really interesting to see how it goes down. But for now, I'm going to go the Rams until I can see more from the Cardinals later on this year. From Arrowhead Stadium, the champions Kansas City Chiefs host a bit of a bogey team, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Chiefs, they're about $1.42. The Bengals sit at $2.97. Arguably the most disappointing team of the week last weekend, the Cincinnati Bengals. Just abysmal stuff. The Kansas City Chiefs weren't overly convincing, but it was against tough opposition. It was week 1, so you take it. It was a good quality game of footy as well. But there's still, a few little signs there that could be exploited. And Cincinnati, man, god damn. I didn't think that they would. I didn't think they'd lose that game, man. But I also don't think they're in for as good of a season as what they have been previously. I'm going to go the Chiefs here, but I'm worried about the bounce back. But I'm going to go the Chiefs. From Mile High Stadium, the Denver Broncos host the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers come into the game as favourites, $1.60, whereas the Denver Broncos are $2.30. Oh boy, this could end up being a 10 points to 7 sort of a game. This could be a dire affair. Credit to the Steelers, though. They went to Atlanta, defeated Atlanta without scoring a single touchdown. And the Denver Broncos started well enough, but weren't able to hold on to the lead in the second half against the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know. I think I'm going to go the Steelers here. Yeah, I think I'm going to go the Steelers. Texans host the Bears from NRG Stadium, and the Texans find themselves as $1.30 favourites, whereas the Bears sit approximately $3.20. Credit to the Bears, though. They did defeat the Titans last weekend with their brand new quarterback. But the Texans, man, they won a very entertaining game against the Indianapolis Colts. Sort of picking up where they left off. There's definitely room for improvement, but for a week 1 victory away from home, you can't really ask for more than that. So the Texans, they're definitely on the right path, and I think they should be too good here for the Bears. They should win this game by 10 plus. And finally, we wind things up, out at Lincoln Financial Stadium. It is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Atlanta Falcons. Philadelphia $1.30, whereas the Falcons are sitting at about $3.10. It's going to be interesting to see how the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers back up after their game in Brazil. The Atlanta Falcons just ran into a really headstrong defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers last weekend. It's a tough start for them. It's a really tough start to the season for Atlanta, so they really need to give a good account of themselves on Monday Night Football or Tuesday Morning Football here in Australia. But unfortunately for Atlanta, I'm going to go the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game by 10 plus points. Howdy everyone, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Hope your team wins this weekend, except for the New England Patriots, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you. Take care. Adios.